These joints right here, so far, as soon as I saw them, I was like, bro, I have to have these. I mean, bro, these are a vibe. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look and breakdown on these bad boys right here. This is the Black & Volt Nike Air Foamposite 1. It looks like kryptonite. It's glowing. It's fantastic. It reminds me of one of my favorite up-tempos of all time. These bad boys. I'm telling you, bro, it's a vibe. Now these guys right here remind me of a couple of past releases, one of which is from a long ass time ago, 2007 to be exact, and they were the black and cactus joints. Those things were sick, but they were a little bit different. The Foamposite was kind of more of like a grayish look, or like a anthracite, pewter, whatever. It was kind of black and gray at the same time, depending on how you looked at it. The bottom though was a cactus like volt color, but it was solid rubber. It wasn't translucent like this. However, there was a House of Hoops exclusive that I believe was from 2011, and they were called the Electric Greens. They were kind of similar to the cactus, where they were black but not black, you know what I mean? Like had like a weird look to it. And then the bottoms were a electric green color. Nowhere near as vibrant as these things, but they were translucent. This one right here just sets things off. I gotta say the outsole might be my favorite thing about these, because it's fucking volt on volt. Like this looks sick, dude. Like this is so dope. And on top of that, it's a mixture between solid rubber and translucent. It looks so epic. I can't even tell you how awesome this is. They went all out. They were like, you know what would look good together? Volt and volt. And they were right. On top of that, penny logo is right where it needs to be. So obviously if that's cool, why that would change, I don't know. So why I pointed it out, I don't know. Something to talk about, I guess. Waste some time. They still have the carbon fiber midfoot shank plate. This is a interesting shank plate though, because it's not just a midfoot cradle shank. It also goes full length. So it's very similar to something like the Air Jordan 11's shank plate, where it's a spring plate and a shank plate or torsion plate all at once, which does make these feel ultra restrictive, especially at first. But luckily they changed the Foamposite compound on these things, so these newer releases are just a slight bit softer than previous releases. So the upper will break in a lot more easy than the lower half or whatever, you know, the tooling. Speaking of the tooling, it's actually housed inside of the Foamposite shell. This is what they call a double lasted midsole, where the midsole is inside the upper, making it so that when you are inside the shoe, then you cinch your laces down, it's gonna pull your foot down onto the footbed and keep it closer for a more one-to-one fit. This was super popular back in the early 2000s, but obviously it started a little bit before then, because this guy right here is a 1997 release. Not these, but just the shoe itself. It's just not something that was used primarily back then in the 90s. It was very heavily used though in the early 2000s. But anyways, the Foamposite upper, it'll break in a lot sooner than it used to. It's still polyurethane. For those of you guys that don't know, polyurethane's not just a foam that they use for insoles and midsoles, but they also used it for the upper on these guys. They have a very unique manufacturing process where the entire shoe basically has a tooling mold, you know what I mean? Where that's normally not the case. Normally the tooling molds are just for the midsoles and the outsoles. This guy though, the upper needed one. So it took what was liquid polyurethane, turned it into a solid, and now we got the Foamposite. It's very expensive to manufacture because of all of that stuff. Tooling is probably the biggest upfront cost when you're talking about footwear. And yeah, that's pretty cool, I think. Now the tech specs are awesome, at least in my opinion. We've got a full length Zoom Air setup here, and in the heel there's an additional Zoom Air setup underneath all of that. So it's double stacked in the back, full length everywhere else, and it feels amazing, especially once broken in. But I emphasize the broken in part. Like, you gotta put some work into these. You gotta put some love into this. Now the insoles are interesting because while they are not, you know, any different material wise than other Foamposite insoles, these guys right here actually have two different top line graphics, which I think is awesome. So one is, you know, just got the Nike Air logo. The other one though has the penny logo, and they're both different colors. One's black, one's volt. It's dope. And yes, there's a little sticker right over there. It says upper contains synthetic leather, because the eye stay right here is made up of synthetic nubuck, just as it should be. Gotta love that baby swoosh down there too. Hot damn, she's pretty. The tongue, I gotta say, or I shouldn't say that just in general, but like the fucking color of volt that they use on this is so dope. Like, it's so bright, it's so neon that I can't stand but like but it looks so cool. I love the line there. I love the penny logo. I love the stripes and how bright they are on the pull tabs. I love the rear penny logo as well. These are amazing. No, what's not amazing about them though? The price. This expensive, man. These are some of the most expensive goddamn shoes out there, besides the 85 breads. It's crazy. Although I will say that nobody complained. You know what I mean? People complain about the bread price, but they all bought them. People complain about these though, and this shoe has more tech per square inch. or whatever. There's just a lot of tech in this, okay? That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say that it's justified. I'm just saying that if we're gonna compare prices and the product that you're getting more product out of this than you would an 85 pair of Jordan 1s. Now, as far as fit is concerned, I go true to size. That's what I recommend for most people. If you're a wide footer and you don't want to deal with the breaking process, obviously go up half a size, but otherwise, most people going true to size is the best option. And if you're interested in grabbing a pair here locally in the Sacramento area, you can go to Phenom. Phenom actually has 2 locations now. One is located in the Doco Shopping Center, right across the pathway from what is soon to be the closed Macy's. And then the other one is actually back in their original location in Elk Grove, right next to Tops and Pizza Hut and all that stuff, and it's awesome. So you've got 2 options to choose from. They will be available at both stores, so go check them out. And with that being said, what is today's user-submitted question of the day?
Do you think we have already reached peak sneaker? Maybe not on the performance side as the tech is getting better and better, but with so much focus on retro releases, it seems like companies are just putting out models that will sell because of all of us 80s and 90s kids that have cash now. Is it lack of innovation, being risk averse, following style trends, or just laziness?
Oh man, it's all of that stuff. We're talking about design, like peak sneaker, what? Like sneakers have
I guess
peaks?
so. He says maybe not on the performance side as the tech is getting better and better.
That I would kind of maybe argue too, just because it's fun to debate. But like a lot of people are always like, mostly when it comes to Nike products and Jordan products, they're always like, oh yeah, you can't hoop in an Air Jordan 12 because it's outdated.
And wrong.
Full length Zoom Air, carbon fiber shank plate, foam midsole, great traction. What's outdated about that? Like compare that to modern product where they don't give you full length zoom, they can rarely give you a shank plate, and half the time the contraction sucks. So it's just like, what exactly is outdated? You talk about that they use leather. Guess what? That's better than mesh and textiles. It just simply is. It's a second skin. I will never not sway away from that. And is that because I am an 80s and 90s kid? I mean, it's possible, you know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is that I personally have worn shoes made out of that all the way up until right now. So my opinion doesn't just rely on modern My opinion relies on all of it. And I'm not biased about it either. I let you guys know when it works, when it doesn't. Doesn't matter if I like the material or not. If it works on the court, then it's cool. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. But as far as overall, like I think that it's all of the above. Like I will say the implementation of tech or the ability to upgrade tech, like when we're talking about foam, and not this, but I'm talking about like actual like midsole foam. The midsole foams that we have today, performance-wise, are greater than anything that we've seen before in the past. So that's, in my opinion, a great innovation. You know what I'm saying? Like I've said this before, but like back in the day, I used to get the basic of basic shoes. That's just what I could afford. Those basic shoes didn't really have tech in it. If it had an air unit, I'd be fucking lucky. But like outside of that, like it was just a straight foam slab and that's it. And the foam that I would play in would literally feel like a brick compared to the foam that I play in today. Like the foam today is just insanely awesome. So in that sense, yes. As far as design goes, which is what I believe maybe he's pointing towards just because of all of the 80s and 90s re-releases, I don't want to say like no, that we've peaked, just because there's going to be somebody at some point in time that's going to make something so crazy, is so awesome that like everybody's going to jump on that bandwagon. That just happened recently with all that Yeezy shit. I don't think that there's ever a peak. Like there's this saying that goes like every record was just meant to be broken. Whether or not it gets broken or the time it takes to break it doesn't matter. Like records are made to be broken. So like that's how I feel about sneaker design, where it's like, yeah, maybe this and something like this or a classic Air Jordan or a Dunk or whatever, like maybe that's current, trending, and very topical today. But do I think that something will jump over it or whatever, like as far as like sneaker design? Of course. If anything, you can actually argue that, just because when we're talking about aesthetics, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So like what I find attractive might be different than what you find attractive, which clearly it is. We both have different tastes in sneakers. Same thing with me and the next person. I don't think that sneakers have peaked. I think that it's more of a corporate thing. It's like the desire, the fire, the Mamba mentality, whatever you want to call it. That has kind of like dwindled a little bit because they're going with the safe bet. And I don't blame them for that, because these companies, at least the big ones, they really rely off of shareholder interest. And if the shareholder loses interest or feels like the company isn't excelling with their investment quick enough, they're going to pull out. You know what I mean? And so the company needs to maintain that. And the easiest way is by getting the quick buck. They want to see quick growth and quick turnaround. I think that that's just the difference. It's like there's a difference between passion and profit. You know what I mean? It's very hard to blend the two and have a good balance between that. But if anyone can do it, I do believe that it is Nike. They've done it in the past. They have proven this before. Do I think that they could do it again? Yes. It just takes the right person in place as their leader to implement this? You know what I mean? So is that going to be their new CEO or their new head of basketball or whatever, like whoever's in charge of sportswear? I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. All I know is that I love sneakers, so while I don't love every design that's released, I still get a kick out of this. You know what I mean? I get a kick out of when this re-releases in this colorway, or if this drops again, or if the Jordan 1 releases for the 50 millionth time. I still like it because I genuinely f with shoes. But what about you guys? Sound off below and let us know. This is definitely a loaded question that has multiple answers and variables, so if you want to be as detailed as possible, feel free, I will read them. Or if you just want to say, yeah, it's peaked, then I guess go for it. But either way, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for being here, and until next time, guys, y'all have a good one.